Hey, Northside family. My name is Jim Probst. I'm the executive pastor here at Northside, and welcome to the Black Friday edition of this Entrusted video series. And I'm excited to talk with you briefly here today. We're going to be looking at Matthew chapter 28, verse 20, and I'll be checking my notes here on the scriptures, but we're going to take a quick look at this verse and really dial into what it is to wrap up this Great Commission language. The Great Commission is thematically dominated by the word all. And you can see that all language throughout. All authority is his in heaven and on earth. And all nations are the target for making disciples. We're to observe all that he has commanded us. And that all language matters. And then it's a little bit of a stretch, but we're reminded that in that final verse, verse 20, that Jesus will be with us always. Always, to the end of the age. And David Guzik does a great job in his commentary trying to make sense of this always language. And when we see the original language, it really would literally mean the whole of every day. It's not just I'll be with you always, like I'll show up periodically, sporadically, casually, and then in the last day I'll show up again just to kind of check the box, but with us always, the whole of every day. And that should mean something to us. It should mean something to us that we've been commissioned to do something incredible, but that he doesn't just say, good luck, goodbye, see you later, check in with me. He'll be with us, always, with all power and all authority. Incredible stuff, and it could be said this way, his presence is protection. It's under his supervision, and so we know that because he is with us always, we're going to have his presence. We'll have that protection. His presence is power. It's in his name that we go. And his name means a lot. There's great authority. There's great power in that name. I remember about a dozen years ago, I made a trip to Hong Kong. It was on the back end of a trip to India with a great team and a lot of missions work. And I started this trip to Hong Kong exhausted. And I was fearful because I was really alone. And I remember flying there and thinking, I'm ill-equipped for the job, I'm overwhelmed, I'm exhausted. And then through some great ministry, I was able to really just soak up the idea that he was with me, that he was sufficient. And for the first time in my life, I felt like no matter where I went, I was in the majority because the King of Kings and Lord of Lords was with me. Maybe you guys have experienced that before, but there's nothing quite like it. I've experienced it a lot since then, just the recognition that because I am with the King, I'm in the majority. I'm going to be okay. So his presence is protection. His presence is power. His presence is peace. It's recognizing that this mission that we're on, it's far more about him than it is about us, right? It's far more about his name, his work, his agenda, his idea, than it is about ours, and that makes things far more palatable. Jesus says in his final words in Matthew, I am with you always to the end of the age. He supplies the clear mission. It's pretty incredible. The resources and even his very presence. He supplies it all. I remember working summers for a construction company. We had a job where we would go into inner city Chicago. And we'd be in that crime-ridden, gang-ridden kind of places, and we'd be trying to install new equipment, new playground stuff. But most of the time when we went, we didn't have the resources we needed. We certainly didn't have the protection we needed. I do remember hiring a bodyguard one time while we were finishing a project because there was gunshots around and there were threats. Hardly worth the minimum wage I was being paid. But we were under-resourced. We didn't have the equipment. We didn't have the protection. We didn't have the presence of any authority of any kind. And even the simplest of jobs were so difficult. Quite the opposite is true with our King. He entrusts us with much, but no matter how great this commission is of reaching all nations and baptizing all with everything, all that he has commanded us, because of the rich resources, we're in good hands. And it'd be helpful to realize that when it's all said and done, we work far more with Jesus than we do for Jesus. It's important for us to know that. And so we've got a King who's very active in our lives, who has every resource and the greatest of missions. And he goes with us, always. And that should give us some encouragement today. So on this Black Friday, on this busy weekend, we pray that you would recognize that He is with you, empowering you, protecting you, providing you with His peace, and yet commissioning you to do incredible things in His name. Have a great day, Northside. God bless you.